If you want people to have confidence in you as a photographer, you need to be confident about what it is that you do. That doesn't mean you have to be a great photographer, that you need to be an expert. It just means you need to know what it is that you want. So that's step one. Step two is for people who don't know what they want. How do you figure out what it is that you want to be as a photographer? Well, a really, really great way of doing this is fusing passion with photography. So you know you want to become a photographer, but you don't really know what you want to photograph. Take something you're passionate about and apply that to your photography. Passion is like free energy. It's like a superpower. So for example, you want to become a photographer, but you're interested in windsurfing, for example. You could become a water sports photographer. You already have a head start in the water if you're into windsurfing. You could become a water sports photographer. You could be an underwater photographer. If someone is looking for a photographer to be in the water, they absolutely need that person to be good at what they do. Taking something you're passionate about and applying that to your photography and making that something that you do is really powerful, because the next thing you need to do is get really specific. For example, the type of photography that I do is a type of interiors photography, but I would call myself a cabin photographer. I in fact have thecabinphotographer.com. I'm very clear about that's what I do. I don't really work for estate agents. I don't photograph hotels. I photograph tree houses, cabins, lodges, and other amazing kind of adventurous spaces. If you can get really specific about the type of thing that you photograph, it makes it much, much easier for other people to describe what you do, and actually for you to describe what you do. And that's all that we're doing right now. We're making it easy for us and others to describe what we do. And that leads us on to the next point, which is identify a need. As I said, I kind of photographed these amazing kind of Airbnbs. And early on, I identified a need, which is that these people need lots and lots of content to post to their social media. That was the problem that I solved. So we would go into the space, we'd photograph the whole thing, the whole experience, and package it up in a way to make it very easy for the client to post to social media. We identified the need. When you've done those three things that we've just talked about, it makes it very easy to describe and be known for that thing. For example, I can go up to a cabin anywhere and tell them, I'm a cabin photographer. I can come in, document the space, and make it easy for you to tell that story on social media. Very specific, which makes it very easy for me to be known for that, which leads us on to the next point. I need to build a portfolio. This portfolio needs to instantly tell the person viewing it what I do. The idea for me is that when someone who has just opened a new space goes to my website, they'll see it and go, this is what I need to happen for the space that we've just opened. That portfolio needs to instantly tell that person what it is that you do. That's key to becoming known for that thing. The faster that you can communicate that, the easier it is for everyone on the planet to understand that you are the person that does that type of photography. A quick way to build your portfolio this way would be to go to your dream clients' websites, check the imagery versus your imagery, or go to your dream clients' social media, look at all of their images and see how that stacks up against what you do. You definitely want to leave room for your own personal touch, but it's a really good way of checking in your content versus the content that you're kind of aspiring towards. So you've picked the type of photography that you want to be known for. You've made it very, very specific, and you've identified the problem that you solve as a photographer, and you've built a portfolio that represents all those things. The next thing we need to do is join the community. And these communities generally exist on social media. This means engaging with everything around the industry that you want to be part of. Conversations are happening all over the internet. And the way I like to think of it like this is, imagine you're at a networking event and you want everybody in the room to know who you are. You have two options. You could stand in the middle of this networking event and shout your head off at everybody, which is the equivalent of what most people do on social media. Or if you really want everyone in the room to get to know you, you should probably go and have individual conversations with everybody, get to know everybody. And this is the social media equivalent of jumping into people's conversations, asking questions and leaving comments. If you really want everybody in the room to know you, go and have a conversation with everybody. And by doing this, you'll be making friends and building relationships, and slowly people will be getting to know you for the thing that you do. Another very important thing that happens when you join the community on social media around the industry that you want to work in is you start to familiarize yourself with a lot of the jargon. You start understanding the fabric of that industry. You start understanding what your clients' needs are and what problems they have. And this means that you can communicate with them with confidence, and they will start to see you as an authentic part of that industry. For you to be known as a photographer in a niche, you need to listen to the community because you need to become an expert. And the best way to become an expert is to spend a lot of time listening to people who know more than you. Next, we need to talk about collaborations, and this is a bit different to social media collaborations. To be known for something, people need to see your work. So you need to think about, where are my clients looking right now? If you're a wedding photographer, your clients are probably looking at wedding venues. Imagine as a wedding photographer that your photography is shared all over the pages of your client's dream venue. They're going to come and see your photography work because they're already looking at it. You need to think about, where are my clients looking right now? That's where I need my photos to show up. So for my work, sometimes I will see a space pop up on social media and I think to myself, I need to move heaven and earth to make it so I'm photographing that space, because I know lots and lots of people are going to be looking at it and it's going to appear in all sorts of newspapers and things like that. That is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about collaborating. I'm talking about some sort of value exchange that leaves you better off than you were before, that benefits you and gets people looking at what you do. And when you can leave a client in a very positive way, that brings us on to our next step, possibly the most powerful over time, which is word of mouth. It's very simple. If you're doing everything I've already talked about, all you need to do is just produce quality, valuable work, and people will talk about you. And when they do, they will naturally talk about you in a way that promotes you if you've done the things in this video. For example, in my world, someone might say to a client of mine, "Where did you get those photos?" And they might say, "It was Johnny, he's a cabin photographer." They also might not say that, but the point is that I'm doing everything that I can to make it easy for them to describe me in a clear and simple way that really promotes me to the people they're talking about. This is because we've identified from the start what problem you're solving as a photographer and who you're solving it for. This is the kind of behavior that will compound over time, serve you really well, and before you know it, you've become known for that one thing that it is that you want to photograph. If you're new here, this channel is about photography. Sometimes that's giving advice on photography, social media and things, and sometimes that's just going on adventures. So if you want more help with your photography, maybe try this video up here. And if you just want to come on an adventure with me, maybe try this video down here. Either way, I will see you in the next video.